Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report, and I am going to officially declare that NFL free agency is here. Even if it doesn't technically start till Monday, and then even furthermore technically until Wednesday, the rumors, the news that keeps dropping leading up to it, it's basically here. How do I know that? I can't even script and put together a show with you guys without some new story dropping, like Zadarius Smith wanting to get cut from the Vikings, and if that happens, I could easily see the Browns having interest in him, or how the Rams have taken phone calls on 9 different players. You got to envision Andrew Berry is picking up the phone and making a couple of these calls. So we're going to break down all of the latest Browns news and rumors heading into NFL free agency. Now, before we get started with any hard, concrete news or rumors, shout out your city. Let me know where you are watching from. We're going to let everyone click on the notification bell or notification that they got for today's show. Get in, find their seats, get their snacks, get their drinks, and then we'll really jump into the stuff here we got played out. But shout out your city. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Ryan Chowdhury, so good to see you. Tuning in from Dayton, Ohio. Ray's in Peoria or Arizona. Ty Man the Buckeye, as always, in the Buckeye State. Epic Jets in Canton, Ohio. Jake's in Sacramento. We got Zachary in Columbus. Brad, how you doing? I'm going to need help from someone watching right now. Producer Sam filling in because Patrick Seatman is in New York at Madison Square Garden for the... What tournament is it in Madison Square Garden right now? Big East tournament. Thank you. Yeah, for the Big East tournament. And with that, Tennessee is playing Ole Miss right now. And Sam said we could not wheel in another TV and put the SEC tournament on. I would not be doing a very good job if that was the case. So someone's got to keep me updated on the Tennessee Ole Miss score. Just every once in a while, every couple of minutes, just drop it in the live chat. You will be the MVP for today's show, no doubt about it. AFX Apocalypse, dude, I go home and talk about you now. That might sound weird, but literally I got home and you're like, I told Shay, you're not going to believe what happened today during the Seahawks live show. Dominic's tuning in from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Sam's hopping on. What's up, Sam?
Vols up 7, 11 and a half minutes left.
Yeah, Ole Miss sucks, but they are playing like the Golden State Warriors today. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No, Josh, that's just assault. Not going to happen. Zachary's turning in from Urbana, Ohio, small town rep. I love it. We got Brad in Minnesota. Okay, so with that being said, who's your number one free agent target, right? Who is your top guy, right? If the Browns sign blank, it'll be an A-plus free agency in your opinion. Let me know in the comment section who your number one free agent target is. There are 2 popular names right now, Jessie Bates and Javon Hargrave. Both are great players, right? If the Browns get either guy, it would be hard not to be excited about it. But for me, I go back to 2022. A season in which the Browns watched the Falcons rush it 14 straight times. And Cleveland had no answer as that wheeled them to 10 points and a win at home against the Browns. That right there, that was the moment when I went, no matter what happens, I cannot forget this. And now we are at a spot where we can remedy that situation, right? Remedy those 238 yards given up against the Chargers, who at the time were the worst rushing team in football. And they put up 238 yards on the Browns the next week. Yeah, they have to fix this. And it needs to be in free agency and the draft. So for me, I'm going Javon Hargrave, right? Jessie Bates is a phenomenal player. He might be a better player than Javon Hargrave. He's younger. It would hard not to be excited about that kind of signing. But he's not going to go up to the defensive line and stop the Falcons from rushing it 14 straight times. So I'm going to go with Hargrave. Let me know what your top free agent signing is. Levi says Paris Campbell. Bad start with his career in Indianapolis. Decently well last year for how bad the Colts were, especially with the quarterback carousel they had, never getting anything going from Matt Ryan or, Sam Ehlinger or Nick Foles. Yeah, Nick Foles started. No one remembers that. That happened in 2022. That was not a bad dream.
What a time to be alive.
Yep. Cool guy called Jones said Fletcher Cox from Philly. Wouldn't hate that, The thing with Fletcher Cox is you got 1, 2, max 3 years left in the tank from him. He's also the antithesis of what Andrew Berry likes in a defensive tackle, right? Andrew Berry likes young and a little slimmer guys. Cox is the opposite of that, right? He is older and he is fatter, but he makes for a great run stopper, which the Browns desperately need. Now, speaking of college basketball, we got a lot of free agency talk to get to on today's show, but we'll take 2 minutes here. Give me your March Madness champion. I know it's pretty early. We don't even have the bracket yet, but which team are you that confident on that, hey, if the tournament did start tomorrow, that would be your number one squad? Sam, do you want to give me your prediction?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put my prediction
Your
on the
Oklahoma
record.
Sooners?
That way, I mean, it's a crapshoot, isn't it, with March Madness?
It is, but it feels like
year.
it's always like there's only like 6 or 7 programs that are actually more than 6 or 7, like 10 that are capable of winning.
Yeah, I think the teams I'm eyeing down this year that I'll probably throw a future on, one of them is going to be Houston.
Yeah.
I like Houston a lot this year. Creighton's a sneaky one with better value that I was looking at that I might wind up putting money on.
Like, there's just no way Creighton's winning March Madness.
So
in
hold on
2023.
now.
I'm sorry.
I'm pulling up a screenshot that I took a few weeks ago.
Okay. Oh, this is gonna be good.
That said that the last, let's see, all of the national champions since 2002. This was February 19th, so it may have changed since then. But 100% of the national champions since 2002 have been both a Ken Pom top 40 offense and top 22 defense.
Okay.
And at the time, there were only 6 teams that fit that. Houston, the favorite at plus 650 at the time. Alabama.
No, they won't win.
Yep. Kansas, UConn. UConn's actually not bad either.
I like UConn, actually.
Creighton and UCLA.
Yeah, I just don't see Kansas repeating.
I might just throw a bet on all 6. Honestly.
Yeah, I kind of like UConn. That's what I was going to say. You kind of stole my thunder. I was going to be like, UConn. We got a lot of Stetson Bennetters in the chat right now. I will block you. I know that you are loyal, but the Stetson Bennett slander from myself, you guys are just out of control. There will be no Stetson Bennett to the Cleveland Browns. I cannot handle that. I don't know what I'll do. I really don't. Now, before we get into the cuts and whatnot, pick a player for me, right? We just went on this rant, or I just went on this rant about taking Javon Hargrave over Jessie Bates. But if you disagree with me, that's totally cool. Just let me know which player you would rather have the Browns sign in free agency, whether it's Bates or Hargrave. I just think defensive line is a much bigger need for this team than safety. I don't really know where or why the safety chatter was ballooned up to the same level of the defensive line. But ask yourself this question. Back in like December when it was like, yep, the season's slipping away, was anyone really sitting at home watching the Browns on Sunday and say, man, the first need this offseason, it's safety? No, I think we sort of just built it up to that with the hiring of Jim Schwartz. And that's understandable to a degree, because Jim Schwartz does rely on a good free safety to have his defense be successful. But so is the defensive line with his 9-wide front. So for that reason, I'm going Hargrave. Now, if you are ready for the videos to get started or just free agency to get underway, make sure to like today's live show. If you haven't already, view it like you're going to your friend's house, you're walking in the door, you take off your shoes, and you hit the thumbs up icon, right? It's just polite while stopping into our live show here. So like today's video if you haven't already. We're at 10 likes right now. If we can get up to 25 likes, we'll do a free dog bowl before we jump into today's show. We got the beer, we got the bowl on hand. And hey, any super chat that we get, we'll also do a dog bowl. No wheel spins today. I feel like that's just like a Patrick Seatman, producer Patrick thing. He loves the wheel spin. Sorry, Sam. But hey, if we get any super chats at all, it's just an automatic dog bowl, simple as can be. We're 10 likes away from reaching 25 likes. Once we get there, we'll jump into the show. Speaking of the show, here's what's on tap for you guys today. Throwing a curveball at you regular viewers. The latest news and rumors, that's a staple. Top free agent targets, feels only right going into free agency. Not doing a mailbag today. Put your pitchforks down for a second. I'm going to do trade targets before free agency. Why? Because every year there are a lot of blockbuster trades that happen on the first few days of free agency, right in that legal tampering window. Mari Cooper got traded then. Russell Wilson was traded a year ago yesterday. We're kind of due for a big trade. Haven't gotten one yet. It's in the works. What's up, Sam?
I don't know if this is news or, well, I think it's news itself. The Browns have a compensatory pick, correct? A third-round pick?
Yeah, they got one from the Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah hire.
That will be pick number 98 in the third round. The NFL announced the order of those comp picks. So they're the third. We go. They're the third compensatory pick in round 3. Number 98 overall.
Sam Brown, breaking the hardcore Big J news right there.
That's what the people came to see.
Look at you. Okay, we got a super chat coming in from Levi Mayfield. We're 3 likes away from 25 likes. Make sure to hit that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. We're going to do a free dog bowl for reaching 25 likes. And for Levi Mayfield's super chat, let's go. Levi, always so good to see you during the live shows and whatnot. Appreciate your continued support of the channel. Thank you so much, man. Cheers to you, and let's go Browns, baby. This is the Dog Pound. We drink out of dog bowls. Joshua Miller with a $5 super. Let's go, Josh. Let's have a Thursday. What do you say? Plus, we're 1 like away from 25 likes, so we got 2 dog bowls potentially. Josh, by the way, is the Phil Dawson. We'll throw that on screen in a second. But Josh said, definitely no on Jessie Bates. Definitely. It's a strong word. Bengals refused to sign him, franchise him, then drafted his replacement. Why? What did the Bengals know and not telling? I don't think that's the case. I think the Bengals knew they had bigger tabs coming up to the tune of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Both players, when they sign their contracts, will be the biggest contracts at their respective position in NFL history. Do you disagree, Sam? Like, Joe Burrow is going to become the highest paid quarterback in NFL history when he signs. Jamar Chase will either sign a little before, a little after, like at the same time probably. They'll work out both deals. Yeah, and he'll become the highest paid wide receiver. And only Justin Jefferson will get more money if he signs the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's just as simple as there's only so much money to go around in Cincinnati. They're going to pay those 2 guys. They've said they wanted to pay T. Higgins and keep T. Higgins with potential extension looming there. So there's not enough money to go around, and that's, part of the reason why they drafted Dax Hill.
Exactly. And safety is just not a position that teams build around, right? They didn't use a first or second round pick on Jessie Bates. They got him from Wake Forest in round 3, I think. So I'm sure they're confident they can get another third-round safety that's on a rookie contract and not pay $15 to $20 million, whatever Bates ends up getting here. All right, Dog Bowl. I'm going to do a double one because we got 25 likes plus Joshua Miller's super chat. Every super chat is a Dog Bowl for the Dog Pound. Cheers to you guys. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. You want to get some shout-outs while I down this bad boy?
Yeah, might as well. Type in woof woof, type in Chuck, type in whatever you want here. Dominic's in there, AFX Apocalypse. It's going to be a good show today. It's a jam-packed show, that's for sure. Orrin Smith says woof woof.
AFX Apocalypse, Matthew, eat a hot chip. I don't do spicy at all. I'm talking like buffalo sauce is scorching for me. I am, people in the office make fun of me because every now and then we get like our favorite Mexican spot we get for like birthdays. Their queso's borderline too spicy for me. And I get so much
and it's
heat
just
for
queso.
It. No, it's not. It's not just queso. It's Torchy's queso. If you've had it before, it's got some hot sauce in it.
It's not that bad.
It's very spicy. I disagree. All right, here we go. Let's jump into the latest Cleveland Browns news and rumors on today's live show. We're going to jump into the latest on your Cleveland Browns in just a moment. But first, a quick friendly reminder to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to have free agency coverage for you guys, along with free daily content. And also, we're very close to our next milestone. We're 33 subs away. Well, a baby milestone. From 17,300 subs. Let's get there before the free agency window officially opens. Click that sub button if you haven't already. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, diving into the latest news and rumors on your Browns. Now, free agency is a very fluid window, so if things that you see on screen change, just bear with us skip a couple of seconds ahead here. But the free agency outlook for the Browns is this. Cleveland is rumored to be pursuing several marquee free agents, right? Several big-name players. Now, the Browns are currently, as I speak presently, Thursday afternoon at 5:15 Eastern time during our live show, in the red when it comes to cap space. Negative $13.5 million. There is no doubt they will get above zero, right? They have to before 4 p.m. of the new league year starting on March 15th or whatever the date is. I think they will restructure Deshaun Watson's contract. They might make a cut here or two. They'll get some money from John Johnson, but they're going to make some moves. I think they're probably going to get to the neighborhood of $40 million in cap space. So that's good. I think $40 million is really the top end. Personally, that's the number that's been tossed around a lot. I think it's going to be closer to $35 million. And that's good for one big $20-ish million signing. And then you've got 4 to 5 other signings, probably 6 in total you need to make at linebacker, safety, defensive line, wide receiver. But with that being said, let's jump into the first segment on the show, and that is, are the Browns eyeing big-name free agents? Are they going to be big you-know-what's in the locker room? You betcha. 4 Bernie heads, baby. You can believe it, okay? Here are the Browns free agent targets in Mary Kay's most recent write-up. That's got really big names, star power written all over it. Javon Hargrave, Jessie Bates, Yannick Ngakoue, Dre'Mont Jones, and then C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And really quickly, I spent 20 minutes this morning trying to figure out, where does the J in C.J. come from? I don't understand it at all, actually. But the 2 biggest names that have been rumored to the Browns, where there's smoke, there's fire, is Jessie Bates and Javon Hargrave. Both are great players. If the Browns sign either player, I'm going to be excited about that. As should you, right? Both are Pro Bowl caliber players. But if I had to pick one of the two, and I don't think the Browns will have enough money to give these players the big contracts that they are looking for that other teams will be offering, I would lean over Bates and give it to Hargrave. Why? Because I have scars from 2022, and those scars came from the run defense. All right? Week 4 at the Falcons. Browns take a late second half lead. What do the Falcons do? 14 straight rushes for 109 yards, a touchdown, and a field goal, and they would go on to win. The very next week, a whole week to prepare for the Chargers and remedy the defensive woes, what happened? They gave up 238 rushing yards to, at the time, the worst rushing team in football. Those are grounds for termination. And that's what happened with Joe Woods a couple months later. At the end of the year, the Browns ended up allowing 150-plus rushing yards in 7 games. Bates is an awesome player. Don't get me wrong. He is younger. He might be an overall better player if you're doing like Madden ratings or something like that. But the 2022 Cleveland Browns defensive line just left too many scars, too many open wounds for me to sit here and stand here now in March and not want to make that the biggest priority in fixing the Browns defense for 2023. So for that reason, I lean Javon Hargrave over Jessie Bates. If Andrew Berry can pull off a way to get both players, I mean, premature, but make him the king of Cleveland, I think he's going to only have enough money and one bullet in the chamber for a big signing. And if he only has one, he's got to pick between one of these 2 players, I would go with Javon Hargrave. Moving on to the second element of today's show. Is it the Philly Express to Cleveland? Yeah, you betcha. 4 Bernie heads once again. I think this is the first time in the show we had back-to-back 4 Bernie heads. I'll explain what this means in just a second, but today's Cleveland Browns report is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. Now, you can get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I recently gave AG1 a try because I hated taking pills/vitamins and wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. It really helps me with starting my day on the right foot and getting into a healthier lifestyle. I start the day with making one great choice, AG1, and more healthy decisions then follow. Covering my nutritional basis for the day also couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing in the morning, and it's done. I also like that it costs less than $3 a day, which, if you ask me, is pretty good. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients. So win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. You know what I'm going to say next? I've already put that link for you in the comments and the description of today's show. Speaking of today's show, let's get back to the Philly Express, and it's a one-way train to Cleveland, Ohio, because there have been 4 Philadelphia Eagles players who have been rumored to be on the Cleveland Browns radar. That is Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. All 4 players have had some degree, some level of smoke of coming to the Browns potentially in free agency. Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox have shown some interest in reuniting with Jim Schwartz, their former coach. And then there's Brandon Graham as well. And then along with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who might be plan B if they can't get Jessie Bates. Now, let's zero in on 3 of these 4 players, and that is the 3 Hogs up front: Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, and Brandon Graham. All 3 players were a part of really almost the NFL's greatest pass rush ever, right? Nearly all went triple digits in sacks. Javon Hargrave, can you imagine for the Browns? The second highest sack getter in 2022 was Taven Bryan with 3.5. Like, I wish. They're all 30-plus years old, different spots in their career. Javon Hargrave's going to get the most in free agency, and I think it'll be following suit Fletcher Cox and then Brandon Graham. Now, then there's C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was traded from the Saints to the Eagles, and the Eagles didn't franchise tag him, which somewhat surprised me because I thought that would be the guy they'd want to hold on to of all their free agents the most because he's younger and he was really good last year. He had 6 interceptions. That's more than the 3 previous seasons combined. So definitely keep an eye on Andrew Berry, who, by the way, was with the Browns back in 2019. Along with Cleveland's assistant GM, there are a lot of Browns and Eagles connections from Jim Schwartz to Andrew Berry, and you might see Berry reach out to some players he used to be with beforehand. So with that being said, let's move on to the next segment on today's show. Is a Daron Payne to Cleveland still a possibility? Well, maybe by trade. I'm going to give it 2 Bernie heads. I'm not all the way at 4 like the other ones. But I am like a little bit above 1 because I do think Andrew Berry really feels the pressure to nail this season. And that might mean giving up more future assets to make 2023 great. So the Commanders franchise tagged Daron Payne to avoid free agency. And for a lot of people, that's where we thought the road ended, right? Well, there go the Browns trying to sign Daron Payne, and all 31 other teams for that matter. Daron Payne got tagged, end of story. Not so fast, right? A tag and trade for Payne is still possible, right? Daron Payne got franchise tagged. They could execute a trade, and the Browns offer him a contract extension. Now, the Browns have been rumored, have been sort of smoke signaled a little bit to be in the mix to make a big splash in free agency. We've heard this for a couple of weeks now of once free agency rolls around, Andrew Berry, he's being very aggressive. That was the word that was tossed around a lot in the NFL Combine of if there's one GM, there's one team that's very aggressive, it's Andrew Berry. If there's an aggressive move, it's trading for Daron Payne. Now, here's what Zach Jackson, who wrote about this in his recent write-up with The Athletic, said. But the Commanders have already devoted lots of resources to their defensive front, and I'm not ruling out the possibility that a Browns team with a glaring need for an impactful defensive tackle and no first-round pick until 2025 offers up a trade package in hopes of acquiring the 26-year-old Payne and signing him to a long-term contract. We all know how great Daron Payne is. Look at his stats over the last 4 seasons. The former first-round pick out of Alabama put up 11.5 sacks last year. You could also make the argument he's not even the first or second best pass rusher on his own team. So there's a lot of excitement around the idea of trading for Daron Payne and teaming him up with Myles Garrett. What could a trade look like? I don't know. I really don't. I thought the road ended when he was franchise tagged. But if I had to take a stab at it with no first-round pick, which I think the Commanders would be looking for, 2 seconds in Wyatt Teller. Even though the Browns said that they're not interested in trading away some of their core players, and Wyatt Teller was a part of those core players, Daron Payne could change things, right? And GMs love to say, we don't have plans of trading a guy, because they don't want to announce they do have a plan, not be able to pull off a trade, and then piss off that player in their locker room. So would you do this Payne trade? Would you give up 2 seconds, this year's and next year's, for Daron Payne? Let me know in the comment section below if you would do this trade for Payne, trade or pass. Before we get on out of here, our random Browns player of the day. This one comes in from Dalton Cochran, who's a tight end, Jordan Cameron. This is a chef's kiss random Browns player, right? You remember him, but also at the same time, it's like, I kind of forgot Jordan Cameron existed. And right before we started filming, producer Sam and I were talking about the show, and he's like, you know, Jordan Cameron's girlfriend is Tiger Woods' ex-wife? Ex-wife. Someone else needs to fact check this for me because it's 100% producer Sam in the ear. That's a tough act to follow, right? To be dating the ex-wife of a sex addict, I feel a little bad for Jordan Cameron to follow those footsteps. But he is our random Browns player of the day. Pick a player for me, Jessie Bates or Javon Hargrave. If you had to pick one, who would it be? Curious what you guys are saying, who you think would be the best fit for the Browns. We'll give some shout-outs here. We got over 100 people watching right now. If you haven't liked today's video, make sure to go ahead and do so. Bronny D says B for Bates. I'm going with Javon Hargrave. I think I made my case. I will rest it there. Speaking of Bronny D, we got a super chat coming in from little LeBron James. When we make the Super Bowl this year, why even put a question mark? So I'm gonna rephrase that for you, Bronny. When we make the Super Bowl this year, exclamation point, who do you think we're going to see there? Here's my 5. Go put it on. Here's my 5. Go put it on them for this Super Bowl. Oh, okay, $5. Okay. Ooh, that's a good question. The Browns will be facing – the NFC is going to suck next year, right? The NFC South is awful. The NFC West has no one. Well, no, that's a lie. They're the 49ers. But I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, although it doesn't look like it really matters. But it won't be big you-know-what Brock. NFC East, the Eagles running it back. It's not out of the question. NFC North, no. I have no idea. I really don't. Sam, do you want to give it a stab?
Yeah, I mean,
Eagles, I feel like...
It pains me to say this. It really does pain me to say this.
Are you going to say the Cowboys?
I think it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow, okay.
I mean, all the other teams, like the Eagles, are going to take a step back.
They're going to take a step back, I think. You know,
the Niners...
the Niners... It's hard to pick a team going to the Super Bowl without knowing their Week 1 starting quarterback.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And can we absolutely say it's Trey Lance?
And if it's Brock Purdy, I'm not convinced that
he's
they
out
can
for,
sustain
I think,
it.
the whole year.
I know he's going to miss the start of the season, but if he winds up being the starter down the stretch, I don't know how sustainable the Purdy magic is. It's not going to be the Rams. It's not going to be the Seahawks. The NFC South as a whole sucks.
No, it's not the NFC South.
I think it's the Cowboys.
Wow.
I hate it. I know.
The NFC is... Well, here's the thing. We're saying the NFC is going to suck next year. Who remembers last year when we said the AFC West would have all 4 teams in the playoffs? So... maybe we got to remember that we're always wrong about the NFL, right? It's always a 180 of what we think. Am I putting the Saints in the Super Bowl now?
I mean, am I putting...
Derek Carr?
Do you want me to put the Lions in there?
I know. There's no one. I got no idea.
The Commanders?
How about this?
No.
Whoever the Browns face in the playoff, in the Super Bowl, it'll be a cupcake because we just debunked the NFC, right? The Cleveland Browns have won the 2023 Super Bowl. Congratulations, Bronny. You did it. Before we get into the next portion of today's show, we've started a new YouTube channel here at Chat Sports, and it's all about the NFL Draft It's completely geared to the NFL draft with the latest draft analysis, rumors, trades, all that good stuff. So show it some love, show it some support. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's youtube.com/chatNFL. When you get over there, not only subscribe, but click on a video and just spam the comment section with Browns, because every Monday morning we got a Chat Sports company-wide meeting, and our boss, James, he reveals which team channels were represented the most, and it's more or less a competition amongst all the hosts here, and no one wants to be last, because if you ain't first, you're last. So help me be first, help the Dog Pound be the loudest and proudest fan base here at Chat Sports. Subscribe, and then just spam Browns until you can't type anymore. Okay. Cool Guy Caldone is stuck in his basement, and his only way of talking to the outside world is in the YouTube chat section. That is quite the interesting dilemma right now. Wow, that is something. Browns, here we go. All right, we got 92 people watching. Let's try to get to 50 likes before we start the next segment. We're 6 likes away. If you have not liked today's video, please go ahead and do so. If we get to 50 likes, we'll do another free dog bowl on the house. I'm already starting to get a little bit loopy right now. It's only half a beer, but I feel like the first beer you have going into the weekend, which Thursday nights tend to be my weekend with Friday and Saturday off, it just hits a little bit different. One like away from 50 likes, and then we'll start the next segment. Over 100 people watching. Let's go. Who wants to be the 55th like here to start the next segment? I'm staring at it. This is going to be an all-time bad moment if we just stay at 49 for the rest of the show. Oh, boy. Someone get us over that hump. But speaking of the next segment, I'll tell you guys what it's all about. Free agent targets, right? Looking at there we go. I got to cross 50. Top 25 free agent targets for the Browns at their biggest positions of need. We got 57 likes. Let's ride. Going to do a free dog bowl on the house. Appreciate you, Tim Green. Good to be back from across the pond, hanging out with you guys. It's my first live show since I came back. It feels like I've been back for so much longer. I only got back, what is today, Thursday? I got back last Friday. Yeah, I guess it has been a little while then. Okay. Feels like it was, I don't know.
The people missed you, that's all.
Yeah. Little Beam, are you doing a mailbag? No mailbag today. With free agency around the corner, there was just so much to talk about. I didn't want to leave anything out, so no mailbag this week. I know, kind of switching it up on you guys. With that being said, let's jump into the next segment of today's show. All about free agency. Give me a second here. I thought I had a burp for a second after that last beer, but I don't want to burp in the middle of the cut. Okay, let's jump right into it, Sammy Brown. Free agent targets. NFL free agency is here. I am declaring it. And with that, we're going to check out the top 25 free agent targets for your Cleveland Browns at what I am going to take a stab at, and it's not a very bold take here, their biggest positions of need. CC, hint, the defensive line, and a little bit extra. But let's take a look at our first 5 free agent targets on the defensive line. We're going to go in depth on some of these guys, but it's Javon Hargrave, Dre'Mont Jones, Zach Allen, Samson Ebukam, and Leonard Floyd. Now, at the bottom, I've got their PFF ranks. Some of those guys are interior defensive linemen, like Javon Hargrave, Dre'Mont Jones. Some of them are exterior edge rushers coming from the outside, Ebukam and Leonard Floyd. So let's zero in on 2 names specifically that have really been rumored to the Browns, that have been, mentioned more than others, and that is Hargrave and Dre'Mont Jones. So Javon Hargrave last year, 11 sacks in 17 games. He was an absolute pillar of that great Eagles pass rush. Then there's Dre'Mont Jones from the Cleveland area, went to Ohio State. 6.5 sacks. He's been very consistent for the Broncos in his 4 seasons there, hanging around that 6.5 sack number every single year. Here's my issue with Dre'Mont Jones. There are rumors out there that Dre'Mont Jones might get as much as $18 million a season. If that's the case, I'm passing on Dre'Mont Jones. I'm not in the business of giving out $18 million a season to a guy who had 6.5 sacks last year. He might be an ascending player, but to me, that's just way too big of an overpay And if a good chunk of your reasoning is, well, he's the hometown kid. Like, yeah, that's great, right? That can be the last little bit to decide between one player or the other. But at the tune of $18 million, no. You could have been conceived and born in First Energy Stadium. And I'm not paying you $18 million after a 6.5 sack year. Sorry. The other three guys on the list we looked at earlier, Zach Allen, he is really popular right now. He had a broken hand at the end of 2022, but he was a real up-and-coming defensive end, outside edge rusher. I like Samson Ebukam with the 49ers. He was never an every down player. He was more of a rotational guy. If he's in for a bigger workload in Cleveland, those 5 sacks could get closer to 8 or 9 sacks. And then there's Leonard Floyd, who had, by the way, another great season with the Rams. He has been Mr. Consistent, 9+ sacks in 3 straight years for LA, the former first-round pick out of Georgia for the Bears. But Ebukam is my under-the-radar guy. I haven't heard a lot of traction or a lot of buzz about the Browns going to get him. But then again, I didn't last year when they signed Taven Bryan, for crying out loud. So I think if Javon Hargrave gets more money elsewhere, and the Browns aren't interested in paying Dre'Mont Jones $18 million, where do they turn to next? I think Ebukam is going to be a lot cheaper and a really productive player that, with more usage, 5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, we can get much closer to double digits from those two stat categories for Ebukam. So who do you think the Browns should sign on the defensive line? We're going to look at some more names in just a second, more than just those 5, don't worry. But of those 5 or someone else, let me know in the comment section. And while you're typing your favorite free agent target for the defensive line, the boss at Chat Sports, James Yoder, he runs a Michigan channel. So if you're an Ohio State fan, do with that what you will. He said that the Bengals channel is out-subbing the Browns channel. We recently just started a Bengals channel. I am not a part of it for a good reason. But let's see if we can shut the Bengals channel up. Can we get 25 new subscribers, start the benchmark there, and then retake the Browns Report as the #1 Cleveland, Ohio YouTube channel at Chat Sports? Hit the sub button if you haven't already. More defensive line free agent targets. I'm going with 10 guys because it's that big of a need. There's Marcus Davenport, Brandon Graham, and Fletcher Cox, 2 guys from the Philadelphia Eagles who have connections with Jim Schwartz. Kalen Saunders, who was a bit of a rotational guy for the Chiefs last year, and Shai Tuttle. Those last 2, they're going to be much lower cost signings. And if Andrew Berry wants to stick to his same MO of not overpaying, or in his eyes, not paying big bucks to defensive linemen, those guys sort of fit the bill. Davenport's interesting. He was ranked, 26th best edge rusher by PFF last year? And he only had half a sack? What are we missing? Well, what we're missing is in 2021, he had 9 sacks in only 11 games. Now, the common theme for Davenport has been he's never played a full season, right? The closest he got was 15 games last year, which is not bad for NFL standards. Hard to find guys who play all 17 games this day and age. But half a sack in 15 games played doesn't really jump off the page as someone that you really want to see the Browns sign. I would probably pass on Davenport for that reason. Then there's Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, who during the Combine, rumors surfaced that they would be interested in a reunion with their old defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, who they both had great seasons under and know how to get after the quarterback, and definitely want to, maybe get the last best juice out of them as they are both nearing the end of their career. At the end of the day, the injuries are just too big of a red flag for me to ignore with Davenport. 9 sacks in 11 games, that's very attractive. Don't get me wrong, but I'm wondering, can you get 2-3 more years out of Fletcher Cox? He's younger than Brandon Graham. I know he's in his early 30s, and that's not really Andrew Berry's MO, but Andrew Berry has to learn that his strategy for the defensive line, for defensive tackles, hasn't worked. So maybe he should give an older veteran a shot who knows what he's doing and not experiment with younger guys who are way cheaper. We're going to check out some more free agent targets in just a moment. But first things first, like I stated before on the channel, we started a new NFL exclusive draft channel here at Chat Sports, and show it some love by subscribing. YouTube.com/ Chat NFL. I put that link in the comments and the description. Now, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. And when you do, make sure to spam Browns in the comment section of the first video you see, because every single week we have a Monday Chat Sports company-wide meeting, and our boss goes through and sees what channel is best represented, and no one wants to be last. We're all competitive guys within the walls of Chat Sports, so help the Browns Report be the #1 most represented team over there. Subscribe and then spam Browns until your fingers bleed. More free agent targets now. Moving on to the safety position, and everyone's favorite, Jessie Bates. Along with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who recently has gotten a little bit of buzz. Then there's Julian Love, who'd be a little bit younger and a little bit cheaper, but had a great contract season. Juan Thornhill. Talk about a guy whose stock has risen despite not playing since the Super Bowl. And then Marcus Epps might be maybe the cheaper route if you strike out on some of the bigger name free agents out there. There is a lot of smoke around Jessie Bates. And when there's smoke, there's usually fire, at least in the NFL. I understand in free agency that nothing's a guarantee and things change and things are very fluid, but this name just keeps on resurfacing. And also, doesn't help for those that want to put out the Jessie Bates fires, that he shares the same agent with Deshaun Watson. And maybe by the time you're watching this, as we were recording this during our live show Thursday afternoon, Watson has already restructured his contract to help get Bates to the Browns. Then there's this as well from Matt Lombardo, who I don't think is all that great of a source, but we'll roll with it because it kind of fits the narrative right now. Interesting note as free agency nears. I keep hearing from team and agent sides that the safety market is unsettled and that multiple teams view safety as one of the deepest positions in the draft, which could keep spending at the position down in free agency. In English, Jessie Bates might not get close to $20 million. And if he is more in the 14 to 15, which I don't think he will be, I think he will get more than that. But if he doesn't, well, then the Browns can definitely make a contract that is just as competitive as other teams. But if the Atlanta Falcons, who have been very interested in Bates and have the second most cap space, roll in and drop off a big bag called $21 million a season, I don't think the Browns can do much about it. So what's plan B, right? Well, plan B should be reinforced plan A. But plan B in this situation might be Juan Thornhill, another name that's been very attractive for Browns fans, talking about free agency. 71 tackles for Kansas City a year ago, 3 interceptions, 9 pass breakups. He was really dominant in the postseason. He's not going to cost as much as Jessie Bates, and he's still going to bring that oomph that the safety room is looking for to replace John Johnson. Moving on to wide receivers now. This has been a very, to be honest with you guys, bad group of free agents, right, for the wide receiver spot. When Juju Smith-Schuster is the best name, and I think he sucks, we got problems. But Mecole Hardman, Paris Campbell, DJ Chark, Olamide Zaccheaus, and Darius Slayton are names to watch for, right? They're not going to cost, DJ Chark's probably going to get the most money of the bunch, but they're not going to cost that much, and they all bring something the Browns desperately need, which is speed. 2 guys specifically I'm looking at is Mecole Hardman and Paris Campbell. For all of you that have been subscribed for quite some time, how long have I been talking about Mecole Hardman? I really hope this one happens. I think Mecole Hardman really fits the bill for what the Browns need, and that is speed, right? A guy who can stretch the field. They've got great boundary receivers in Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones with great hand skills that can bring in a tough grab, but they need to bring some speed into that huddle so that when they break, the safeties go. We can't just stack the box. We do have to take a step back, and we do have to respect the speed that this offense poses. Let's check out some linebackers now, okay? 2 of Cleveland's own free agents, Anthony Walker and Sion Takitaki. Then there's Lavonte David, who just before we started filming, a source said that the Browns are not that interested. Might be some smoke screens. I kind of hope so, because Lavonte David was awesome last year. Sounding like the Bucs won't bring him back. He's definitely older, but I'm not opposed to bringing on some veteran leadership for a defense that really needed it last year. Nicholas Morrow, I think, could be a 1-year kind of stopgap guy if they don't want to commit to anything long or, long-term or expensive. David Long for the Tennessee Titans, he was a relatively no-namer before 2022. Now he's going to get a good chunk of change in free agency. Of these 5, I might regret this, but I'm going to go Anthony Walker. He's been with the Browns for 2 years. He has missed considerable time, unfortunately, in those 2 seasons. But when he's on the field, this defense has a different beat to it, right? This defense marches together. This defense plays together. This defense is on the same page, it feels like. When he was off the field, they seemed out of sync, out of whack. So I will go with Anthony Walker, hoping that he can play close to 17 games. And if he gets hurt again, it's only my fault because we kind of saw it coming potentially. But there is also Taki. So if you had to pick one player to bring back, the Browns currently have 3 linebackers on their roster, JOK, Tony Fields, Jacob Phillips. I think they're going to roll into the 90-man camp with 6 or 7 guys. Probably only take 4 onto their active roster, maybe 5. But I only think they're going to bring back one of these 2. Who would it be? Walker or Taki? Put the number for the player you'd rather see the Browns re-sign more. Let's give some shout-outs here. Oren Smith says 5 for Anthony Walker. Cool Guy Called Zone is going with 44. I think they're both good answers. That's a big-time cop-out. It's lazy by me. It's cowardly. But I'm going to go with Walker just by a slight edge because I really felt like this defense missed him more than when Taki went down. $10 super chat coming in from Michael Warnecki. Let's go, Michael Warnecki, the Eric Metcalf of the show. Shout out to you, Michael Warnecki. We'll throw on your player comp. There it is. Hey, if you want to get your own player comp, by the way, $50 super chats in total throughout the course of a show. We'll give you your own player comp. So anytime you super chat on the show, we'll throw it on screen for everyone watching to see. But Michael Warnecki, let me give you a dog bowl and a salute and a cheers for your super. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Along with Joshua Miller, I'll combine these 2 bad boys. Sign Kalen Saunders and Shy Tuttle for half of Hargrave's cost. I think it could be even, I think those 2 guys could combine for like $9 million, and Hargrave could be 10 million, 20 million. So maybe even, more than half. But I get the point for sure. Yeah. I don't know. Here's the thing. Perrion Winfrey at the end of his last season gave me enough reason to believe he could be a starting player in 2023, a starting caliber player, not just tossed into that role. So then you only need to find one more starter. It's definitely a rotational position, but Winfrey and Hargrave or Winfrey in a rotation of Tuttle and Saunders? I go Hargrave. Guy had 11 sacks last year. That's tough to pass on, right? That's tough to pass on. He's older than the other 2, but cheers to you guys. Thank you so much for your super chats. Always appreciate your donations, your support of the channel. We've got one more segment on today's show. It is our trade targets. We're talking a lot about free agency. I'll explain why we're doing trade targets instead of a mailbag. I need to collect myself for a second. When you do the dog bowls, it just kind of goes right to the head immediately. It is consumed differently. I'll tell you that much.
You actually missed it. I've been pouring a shot of Fireball when you haven't been looking into.
Yeah, I've noticed the graphics have just been a little sloppy coming across as you're starting to get a little tipsy over there. It looks like.
No. I'm talking about you.
Oh, is that what you've been doing?
Yeah, I've been. That's not the right term. I'm not going to say it. But I've been sneaking a Fireball shot into your bowl every time before you pour into it again.
Making a dirty dog bowl?
You're just drinking Fireball every time.
All right, we are at 69 likes. No one liked the video and no one disliked it. Let's keep it right here for the rest of the show. That would be pretty impressive if we can keep it right there. All right, here's what we got coming up next on the show. We're going to talk about some trade targets before free agency really gets underway. On today's show, we're going to look at some trade targets for the Browns leading into NFL free agency. But a quick friendly reminder to subscribe if you haven't already. We got free Browns content for you guys every single day. And with the offseason just approaching the peak right now, you don't want to miss a thing. So make sure you're subscribed. So with that being said, let's jump into our trade targets today. Andrew Berry is going to be busy, I predict. Andrew Berry was rumored to be very aggressive during the NFL Combine, not in a weird way, but in a managerial way, right? Of a let's get some big names to the land. So with that being said, let's look at some trade targets for the Browns before free agency. Why are we talking about this? Because potentially by the time you're watching this, as we are recording this right now during our live show on Thursday, some big trades have already gone down. But a healthy reminder that free agency is more than just signing and cutting players. It's time where a lot of big names get dealt. Last year, on March 8th, Russell Wilson went to Denver. 2 days later, Khalil Mack to the Chargers. Less than a week later, Amari Cooper went to the Browns. The next day, Devontae Adams went to the Raiders. And a week after that, Tyreek Hill went to the Dolphins. So, big name players, like we see right there, all Pro Bowl, all pro players, got dealt in this time stretch. So, if things sound outlandish, they're not. Because as we see from last year, it happens. So now let's look at some trade targets for your Cleveland Browns, starting with my favorite, DeForest Buckner. He is awesome, and he is exactly what the Browns need. The Colts are rumored to be interested in trading Buckner away, as they are definitely rebuilding. He turns 29 this offseason, and he's had 5 straight seasons with 7 or more sacks. Talk about a consistent player who can get after the quarterback. His base salary for 2023 is $18.7 million. So whether it's the Browns or any other team trading for DeForest Buckner, that's what they would be inheriting. But oftentimes we do see players maybe tweak their contracts to get a trade done if it's their desired location. Buckner, the last 4 seasons, though, to expand on what he's done, 8 sacks, 7 sacks, 9.5 sacks, and 7.5 sacks in his last year at the Bay Area. But he's more than just a pass rusher, right? He is a really good run stopper. Look at the tackles for loss each season as well. He is a Swiss Army knife on the defensive line. Plain and simple. A nice plain Jane PB&J trade. DeForest Buckner for the Browns' second-round pick. If the Colts move up or plan on moving up from 4-1 with the Bears, they're going to be giving up a lot of draft assets. This is a way they can get a second-round pick back. And for the Browns, they get a proven day one Pro Bowl caliber starter on their defensive line with Myles Garrett. What's not to love? I would trade the second-round pick for DeForest Buckner in a heartbeat and not think twice about it. I know it stinks not having a first or second-round pick, and it makes the draft a little bit more dry and bland. But you know what? I'll take my chances on DeForest Buckner being awesome rather than hoping that second-round pick is an immediate contributor, which the Browns need. Our next trade target is a popular name. It is Brown Tigers' favorite, DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson's former teammate with the Houston Texans, now with the Cardinals. He has been the number 1 most talked about trade candidate this offseason among all wide receivers. The only hiccup I have with Hopkins is he has only played in 19 of the 34 possible games the last 2 seasons. That's 15 missed games. His base salary, don't be too alarmed. It's $19.4 million. I'm going to show you something in just a second that might put you at ease with that bigger contract right there. Because Ian Rappaport tweeted out earlier this week that Arizona Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins admitted on the Pat McAfee show that he's been hearing a lot of trade talks. On that subject, my understanding is if a trade did happen, he'd be flexible on the last 2 years of his contract rather than shoot for a top-of-the-market deal. AKA, he will take a pay cut to go to a team he wants to go to. And maybe he wants to go to a team that his old quarterback is on, Deshaun Watson. Right? He played with Watson in Houston before Bill O'Brien made the worst trade in NFL history. I'll never understand it, but that's for another video, another day, where he put up 4,700 yards from 2017 to 2019 and hauled in 31 touchdowns. What would it cost to get DeAndre Hopkins? I don't think it's going to cost a first or a second. With that salary, which could be negotiated down, but the age factor and him missing some time the last 2 years, I think it's going to be a little bit better than it will cost a little bit more than Amari Cooper. I think it's going to be picks going back and forth, a third going to Arizona, but a fifth going back to Cleveland. So neither side loses any draft capital. It's just the Cardinals get a better pick at the end. But between the two players we talked about first on the show, if you had to pick one to trade for, who would it be? Hopkins or Buckner? I'm going to go with DeForest Buckner. No doubt about it, though. Having Watson and Hopkins reuniting Cleveland would be get your popcorn ready material, but I think Buckner would be a more impactful player for the Browns in 2023. Now, speaking of wide receivers, what about Mike Evans? Did not think we would talk about Mike Evans on this show, but I did see an interesting article from Zach Jackson at The Athletic who included Mike Evans as a potential-ish trade target for the Browns. So the Bucs, I think, are looking to do a hard reset this offseason. They're moving out from some big-name guys. They lost this guy named Tom Brady, and maybe they want to do a full rebuild and get as much draft picks as possible. The Browns have not been rumored or really linked to Mike Evans, but then again, I don't remember last year hearing a lot of smoke about Amari Cooper until 72 hours beforehand, right? Once the Cowboys announced they planned on releasing him, all of a sudden Amari Cooper traction started picking up. This is a long shot, though, right? I don't think this one has a high probability of happening. At least it's less likely than DeAndre Hopkins, in my opinion. But Evans, we're talking about a future Hall of Fame receiver, in my opinion. Look at the last 4 seasons. Do you notice anything? A trend? 4 straight years, 1,000+ yards. He's never gone below 1,000 yards in his career. He has been all reliable for the Tampa Bay Bucs. He does not bring the speed element that the Browns are looking for. He is over 30. He does have nagging hamstring injuries on and off a little bit. But when he's out there, he's one of the best. We've got 2 more trade targets to take a look at in just a moment, but there's a really great deal going on with Fanatics right now that I want you guys to get involved with before it's too late, and it's this really awesome Cleveland Browns St. Patrick's Day t-shirt. Wear it this St. Patty's Day, whether you're doing a bar crawl or wherever you go for St. Patty's Day, whatever pub you like to go to, just be wearing this awesome Browns St. Patrick's Day shirt by going to chatsports.com/brownsgreen. I put that link for everyone in the comments and the description of today's show, as always. Our 4th trade target, and maybe shame on me for not making him number 1, it's Daron Payne, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of Zach Jackson at The Athletic, he reported that Daron Payne could still be got, okay? Despite Washington placing the franchise tag on Daron Payne, maybe we see a tag and trade, right? Maybe Andrew Berry makes the Commanders an offer that they cannot refuse, and ultimately Washington decides, well, we're really not trying to win right now since Sam Howell's our quarterback, so it'd be tough not to pass on some picks. What does Daron Payne bring? A lot of great things, specifically sacks. 11.5 sacks last year. He is just entering his prime. I know I have preached on my show to get run stoppers, but when you're an interior defensive lineman and you get 11.5 sacks and you wreaked havoc against Deshaun Watson and the Browns for Andrew Berry and Stefanski to see in person, that might push the needle enough for them to go, we need this guy in Cleveland. What does a trade look like? We talked about this on a show earlier on the channel. What about Wyatt Teller and 2 second-round picks? I think Daron Payne, if a trade were to happen, would require a first. Something the Browns don't have this year or next year. So the next best offer is a second, specifically 2 seconds. And even though Mary Kay reported that the Browns aren't interested in trading away any of their core players, and I believe that, at the same time, if Wyatt Teller is standing in the way of getting Daron Payne, I think Andrew Berry is going to make that move and pick Payne over Teller. So who wins this trade? Is it the Browns or is it the Commanders? Right? Washington gets 2 seconds and a great starting guard, one of the best in the league, but the Browns get one of the most up-and-coming interior defensive linemen in the ballgame. Moving on to our 5th and final trade target, and that is Brandon Cooks. Some people have an affinity for him, and then there's people like me that's a little like, I like Cooks. don't love Cooks, though, right? He has been heavily rumored all offseason long, pretty much his entire career to get traded for that matter. He overlapped with Deshaun Watson in Houston for just one season before he came over from the Rams and Watson stepped away from the Texans in 2020. His base salary is just $18 million. I say just. Probably a little bit of a hiccup for the Browns to get over. Now, I do expect, though, if a trade were to happen, him to be open to renegotiating his contract. We do have this, though, from Brad Stainbrook, who tweeted out, and he's a good reporter for the Browns, that the Browns haven't expressed interest in acquiring Texans wide receiver Brandon Cooks this offseason as of now. Smokescreens or the truth? It's hard to say. GMs can be deceptive during the offseason. Nothing's an absolute guarantee in this business. But Brandon Cooks, guaranteed, has been very good for the Texans the last 4 years, except for last year, where he more or less mentally checked out when he realized this team was probably not going to win more than a game or two. 699 yards and 3 touchdowns with 2 quarterbacks that will be out of the league in less than 3 years. Not that bad if you ask me. And before that, 2 straight 1,000-yard performances with 6 touchdowns to go along with it. He's got the repertoire. He's got the connection with Deshaun Watson. And if Andrew Berry feels the pressure for Deshaun Watson to live up to that $230 million contract he convinced Jimmy and D has him to sign, maybe he wants to go out and get a player who's worked with Deshaun Watson that has that chemistry, and they're not starting from ground zero when they need to be at 100% in 2023. Of the 5 players that we looked at today, what would be your favorite trade target? I'm going with DeForest Buckner. If you disagree with me, perfectly fine. Let me know who your number 1 trade target is in the comment section. Just type the player's name: Hopkins, Evans, Payne, Cooks, whoever it may be. Let's give some shout-outs here. Who your favorite trade target is. I'm going DeForest Buckner. No worries. DeAndre Hopkins is good, right? Because, like, if you got Hopkins, how are you not doing cartwheels, right? How are you not jazzed up about that? But I just don't know if Hopkins is exactly the medicine that this team needs. Oren Smith and Cool Guy already disagree with me. Tim Green, Daron Payne, yeah. I mean, we have been drooling over Daron Payne. That would be very exciting. He'd probably cost you a bit more than DeForest Buckner, which is, I think, a little bit why I'm leaning towards Buckner. But Payne's a little bit younger, so you'd have him for longer potentially, or hopefully. Kareem says D-Hop. Levi Mayfield says Buckner. I like it. Keep getting those answers in right now. We're at $24 in Super Chats. Can we get to 25? Can we get a $2 Super Chat just to get us a nice even $25 in Super Chats? That'd be pretty awesome. Oh, there we go. XX Epic Jet X. Yeah, that was English. $5 Super Chat. Cheers to you, Epic Jet. What is your opinion of signing Braxton Berrios? We could cut Grant and sign Berrios. Berrios is a good returner and would be a good 4th option. I like that idea a lot. The Jets did release him today. A lot of people thought that was to make way for Aaron Rodgers. Not the case. I think Jakeem Grant's going to get cut anyway. He's got a decent cap hit for the Browns. And when you're signed as a return man and you rupture your Achilles later in your career, that's unfortunately a death sentence. So I think Jakeem Grant's probably on the way out unless he shows that he's made a full recovery from that Achilles injury. Signing Berrios, I'm not opposed. Yeah. I mean, this special teams unit never found an identity in the return game outside of DPJ's touchdown against the Texans. So, yeah, I'd be on board with signing Braxton Berrios. Bring some speed, like you said. Good 4th option. Epic Jet, cheers to you. Thank you so much for your Super Chat. I'm out of beer now. So the next Super Chat we get, we're going to have to go get another beer. If someone wants to make another Super Chat, we'll have to run to the fridge and get another brewski. In the meantime, though, I'll give some shout-outs here. Free agency is coming. Winter is coming. Make sure you got the notifications turned on. Subscribe if you aren't already. Of course, that goes without saying. YouTube cliche, blah, blah, blah. But really importantly, do turn the notifications on. We don't spam your phone, right? We're not spammers. We just put out videos once a day, and you don't want to miss one. So that way, if a signing happens or we're going live, you're like, oh, shit, we got to tap on the notification and not miss a thing. What's that? Joshua Miller with a $2 super chat. Let's go, Josh. I am out of beer now. I don't know if Big Tex is watching right now. Okay. Could you run and give me a course, please? Thank you. Levi, what about Jabril Peppers? I'll answer that in a second. First, Joshua Miller's super chat. What about Khalil Mack? Inexpensive possibility. I don't see Mack coming to Cleveland. From the area a little bit. He went to Buffalo. I'm not really sure where he's from exactly. Someone fill me in. Also, no one's filled me in on the Tennessee score right now. I counted on the chat for that. But Khalil Mack, I don't see him coming to Cleveland. Would I like it? Yeah, I would. Do I see it happening? Honestly, I don't. I think the Chargers are going to stick by him. And if they don't, then what's that? 70-55. There we go. Good guys on top. But at the end of the day, Khalil Mack, I don't see him coming to the Browns. For one reason or another, I just don't see that deal getting done. We got a new Coors Latte coming in from Sam Brown. No free ads. Cheers to you, Joshua Miller. Thank you so much for your super chat. Early MVP runner for today's live show. Would you agree, Sam? I think Josh. Michael Warnecki's up there. We got some other usual suspects.
If we're going by, I don't know, quality over quantity isn't the correct word there, but if we're going by mass, I think Joshua Miller's our MVP today.
Oh, the ball's won. There we go.
Total dollars. Hey.
There we go.
It's a good day.
You get Mizzou tomorrow. Let's go. Chris, any opinion on Dalvin Tomlinson? I would like that signing. Would I love it? No, I don't think he's in the love category. But I like it, right? I would date, not marry. So Dalvin Tomlinson is a run-stopping defensive tackle. The funny thing is, if you looked at PFF, just by PFF size, he's actually gotten worse at run-stopping each year. Former second-round pick for the Giants. I think he is what this defense is looking for. Haven't heard a lot of smoke around it, but it's also a good reminder that free agency is a wild card. And a lot of times, things get in the making just within a matter of hours, right? We get the Ian Rappaport tweet at 9 a.m. that says, the Browns are showing interest in Dalvin Tomlinson. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Mary Kay tweets out, the Browns have signed Dalvin Tomlinson. So, Chris, I like Dalvin Tomlinson. I think that'd be a good signing for the Browns if it was done. I'm very curious to see if Andrew Berry goes 180 on the way he has viewed the defensive tackle position, which is, we got to go with off his payroll, the least valuable position on the field. He has not devoted any big draft capital into it. The earliest pick he's made was Jordan Elliott in round 3. And the most money he's sunk into it was Taven Bryan for $4 million. As Jeremy Beadling pops into the studio with a dolphin costume on right now. So that's where I stand on Dalvin Tomlinson. We got Jeremy Beadling popping on with this dolphin costume right now, coming over from Willie Finn's at the Dolphins YouTube channel here. Lil Beam, should the Browns sign Juan Thornhill to a 4-year, $12 million contract? Yes, but Juan Thornhill will get a lot more money than that. Juan Thornhill's probably going to get 3 years, $35 million. No, I mean, not that much. That sounds too much. He's going to get 3 years, $28 million. So I would not be opposed to that. Peppers, as I'm getting more or less molested by this dolphin.
That's what they're known for.
Yeah, they're freaks in the sheets. Yep. Watch your step, buddy. Don't hurt yourself. Jabril Peppers. Who's opposed to a Jabril Peppers reunion? Probably the best player. There's Jeremy. Come on, get on in. The water's just right. Jabril Peppers, probably the best player that came out of the OBJ trade. No, best player for their team. You know what I mean? So, I'm not opposed to it. You want to drink the dog bowl?
How much
Could we get a super chat? Any super chat, and Jeremy Beadling in the dolphin costume. We'll take a sip out of the dog bowl. We got the Dolphins and the Dolphins and the Browns combining forces right there. Yeah.
Is that back? Did you just pour that, or is that backwash?
No. I think I poured it and then I forgot to drink it. Honestly.
Okay. Mm-hmm. As long as it wasn't backwash.
Yeah, that's the spinning cup. That's the dip cup. Good to see AFX Apocalypse. All right, we got over 100 people watching right now. 81 likes. If we can get to 90 likes, we'll do another dog bowl for sure. Also, there's Levi Mayfield's $2 super chat. So, dog bowl for the dolphin costume here. Drink out of that side. I've been using the other. Just a little bit. Just a baby one. There you go. Don't hurt yourself. Today, Junior.
Cold.
Yeah, I mean, no. Beer out of the dog bowl, it just hits different. I'm telling you. People don't believe me, but it goes upstairs way quicker.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it just takes over the cranium. Dog bowl time, indeed, Orion. Indeed. Cannonball coming. Cannonball. Thank you for popping on, Jeremy. Now, that is our scheduled show today. So if we don't get any more super chats, we do have to give the studio over to other channels who need to use it. But I definitely appreciate everyone who takes time out of their busy Thursday to join us, kick back, relax, and talk Cleveland Browns football. Just get over Jeremy. You drive me nuts over here. Do Dolphins have beards? Yeah. You're getting a full facial one right now with a pedo mustache to go along with it. Jonathan Mann with a $2 super chat. Let's go, Jonathan. Let's go. John B. No spoilers. Pick the reasonable combo, defensive end, defensive tackle, wide receiver, not expensive. Fair. Not expensive. I'm going to remove the top dollar guys at all three spots. I will go defensive end, not expensive. I don't think Marcus Davenport's going to cost that much. I really hope they don't. I'll go Brandon Graham, Shy Tuttle, and Paris Campbell. And I'm not really excited about any of those three guys, actually. Shy Tuttle a little bit, but that's about it.
I almost audibly yawned as
yeah.
you went through that list.
That was tough.
Sometimes it's the non-flashy names that you need.
Yeah.
I mean, no one really knew who Javon Hargrave was until this season.
That's true. This is true. Former Pittsburgh Steeler. AFX Apocalypse, hit me up on Twitter. Levi. Oh, Josh with another $2 super chat. Who does not watch Outer Banks? Outer Banks is the epitome of Netflix's best, worst show. Right? They nailed it. They have some bad shows out there.
That's why I don't watch it.
But this one's so good. And only just a little, just bad enough.
So bad that it's good?
No, they're so bad that it's good. It's not actually that. It's actually so good, but just barely bad enough to be acceptable. Fourth place schedule equal undefeated and Super Bowl bound. Guys, the Browns have a cakewalk schedule next year. I don't want to alarm anyone, but 17-0 should be the expectation. I'm just going to read out some of the teams they play. I had it memorized for a little bit, and now I can't remember it. But they've got, the Bears and the Broncos. I remember that much. Oh, dang it. Browns schedule 2023. They got the Jets, which revenge game. All right, here we go. They got their usual AFC North opponents. Ignore that. Cardinals. That's a win. That's winnable. I'm just looking for winnable right now. Winnable. Bears and Jags. Winnable. Winnable. Right? Jets. Winnable. 49ers.
Depends on whether Aaron Rodgers is around.
Yeah, true. 49ers will be tough. It's at home, but it'll be tough. Titans. They're going to be awful next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Away. Broncos, Texans, Colts.
Dub. That's how it should be.
I mean, those three teams are picking top 5 in the draft.
The Broncos aren't.
Well, but their pick is.
Yeah.
Right? Those are awful teams.
Yeah.
That's 11 wins.
I see 11 and
I see 11
12
wins.
And 5.
How am I not looking for 11 wins?
And I said 12 and 5 in my head.
Yeah. I mean, it's 11 wins. So I've stood on this hill before. I fully believe that Deshaun Watson will get back to that Pro Bowl level. And everyone that's been shit-talking the Browns and Watson for a variety of reasons, and I understand a handful of them, but they're going to be reminded, that's why the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. He's a really good quarterback, so makes sense. Josh, thank you for the super chat. I owe you a dog bowl. We're at $37. Can we get to 40? Can we get to 50? Can we get to 50? I think if we get to 50, Sam Brown takes a dog bowl himself. There we go. I got sure. He's in a bit of an upset mood today, but a dog bowl might put a smile on his face. Here we go. Cheers to you guys. Oh, we got another one from Jonathan, man. Let's go, Jonathan. Now we're just $12 away from $50. Affordable swaps for Taki and Walker. linebacker as a whole, like, unless you're in the top tier, there's a huge pay drop from Roquan Smith to 90% of other linebackers. I think you can get pretty much any linebacker you want for an average of $5 to $7 million a season. The position is just not what it once was. People don't run the football as much. People pass it more, and you need athletic and fast linebackers. And those guys are somewhat findable and replaceable and cheap. It's just not what it once was. So I think you could go a variety of directions, for the linebacker spot for swapping out or replacing Taki and Walker.
I know he's not young by any means. I don't remember if he was on the list. I don't think he was.
Who you got?
How would you feel about Bobby Wagner?
Wagner, that's an interesting one. If he wants to go to a team
if he wants to go win, obviously.
Yep.
The Browns can put themselves in a spot to have a winning team easily. Mm-hmm. I think that'd be a solid. He showed last year he's not washed by any means. He was an all-pro. His coverage stats, if you pull them up, are still pretty solid.
Tim Green, 49ers. I got 4 tickets on Ticketmaster. I like it. I like it. Try to break even. There we go. Bobby Wagner, I don't know. He gives me West Coast vibes, right? He's only played his entire, he went to Utah, went to Seattle.
Utah State,
sorry. Went to Seattle, and then
he's from Los Angeles. That's
LA.
Why he went to the Rams.
He's never gone further than Utah State. He's never gone that further east. So Cleveland seems like a big jump for him.
Maybe on vacation.
Maybe. Away games, probably a little bit. We are going to put the shot clock on. If we don't get any more super chats in the next 2 or so minutes, we will get out of here. Trying to get to $50. Sam Brown, he is the heart and soul. He is the pillar, the rock, the foundation, the backbone of Chat Sports.
Heart and soul is a bit of an oversight.
I'll tell you this. So much happens behind the scenes that you guys don't know about that was only possible because of Sam Brown. And I want to put a smile on his face. And I think a dog bowl would go a long way to do that, right? Give him a nice Cleveland welcome. So if we can get a $12 super chat, Patrick Ewing out at Georgetown. He was awful. They were awful. They had one good run, which I'll never understand how that actually happened.
And then for some reason, they were insistent on bringing him back for this season. And then the same thing happened.
Yep. Taylor Lewan. At the end of every video, can you say dog pound, let's ride? Didn't work for the last team that did the let's ride. So I'm going to leave that to Russell Wilson. I put the shot clock on. We got the pressure from the bosses, the guys above here to hand over the studio to other channels who need it. So if we keep getting super chats, we can keep hanging out and talking shop. Otherwise, that's just the way things work here at Chat Sports. Make sure you got the notifications on, though, if you haven't already. Do dog pound. How about dog pound, let's bark? Is that corny? Is that cheesy? It's all pretty cheesy if it's even related to what Russell Wilson says. Yeah, if Russell Wilson would have thought of it, probably don't do it. That's a good line. That's a good measuring stick of, would Russell Wilson have thought of this? Okay, let's probably not do it, right? If you're thinking of doing calisthenics on a plane, don't. Just bad idea. Bad idea. Ty Man the Buckeyes, since we play in the Hall of Fame game, I call 15-3. Do you want to win or lose preseason games? I think you want to go 500. You want to find some weaknesses, right? But you definitely, the Browns beat the Jags in the first preseason game last year, and their seasons went different directions. I think 500 is a good preseason, right? They got 4 games. I would like 2-2. I'll be upset if they go 4-0. I will be nervous. That will not be ideal. Can't do 4-0. They got the Jets. It's going to be, the Hall of Fame game is the biggest blue ballers in all of sports. You think football is back? It's not even close to back. The backups don't play.
PD loves
It's just the 3rd and 4th string guys.
PD loves this argument every year.
Every single year, I stand on my box and I yell at whoever will listen to me that the preseason is the biggest tease in all of sports. And if you're that guy who tweets out, this is the last weekend without sports, without football for the next 37 weeks, I hate you. I could say a lot worse, but I won't because YouTube will get mad at me. But no, football does not start until week 1 of the NFL. I said it. Not even week 0 for college football. No. I'm not going to go and get pumped about Bowling Green playing Morehead State or whatever. Jonathan Mann right at the buzzer with a $2 super. Now we're just $10 away from Sammy Brown doing a dog bowl. It was his first ever. CJ Gardner makes Newsome a trade asset. I have no idea what's going to happen with Greg Newsome, right? Are they going to hold on to him? I think so. Andrew Berry loves corners. If he trades Newsome away, he's probably just going to have to go replace him. So are you going to find someone that's better? Probably not. Now, that pick could lead to a better player at a different position, but I think he would just want to stockpile on DBs because his biggest fear in life is Herb Miller and Thomas Graham Jr. have to be your team starting corners. He'd rather hold on to Greg Newsome and wait for the inevitable Denzel Ward injury, unfortunately. But Gardner Johnson teaming up with Delpit, that would be a pretty fun safety room. No doubt about it. Scorpion with a $10 super chat. I knew I could count on one of the OGs. Thought I missed it. How is everyone doing? The Amari Cooper of the channel came through with a huge, I'm going to say, 48-yard touchdown grab right there. Right? It's not a Hail Mary, but it's big. It's going into the fourth quarter. The Browns extend their lead to 10 with this super chat, and the Bengals are shaking in their boots thanks to Scorpion, the Amari Cooper of the channel. Let's go. Let's go. That's a dog bowl. I'll take one, and then Sam Brown can come from behind the computer in front of the camera. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. All right, Sam. Good dog bowl. You know, this is your initiation to Cleveland Browns fandom. Welcome aboard.
I never realized that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a secret. There's a little drawing on the inside. I won't say what it is. Here we go. Down the hatch. Woof, woof. There you go. He's learning. He's catching on, guys. Oh, someone was in a frat. Sam Brown right there. See, Sammy Brown, his quick backstory, and then we'll get back to the regularly scheduled programming. Him and his buddies come to trivia every Tuesday. I host trivia at a bar right by our office here in Dallas, and their team
Best
is always
you'll ever have,
oh, you're too good to me. Their team is always the last team to turn in their answer. They spend so long debating it, and then they get it wrong. But what you guys have gotten like first, second, or third a couple times.
Last month, we finished second 3 weeks in a row.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
3 weeks in a row,
That's brutal.
And the week I was gone was last week. I came back hoping to come back with a bang. And to be fair,
the competition was tough.
To be fair, a lot of the debate is because there's usually like 8 people with on our team.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
And I don't sit there.
Yeah.
Half the time I'm not debating. I'm just I threw my answer out. They've all heard it, and they're all discussing it amongst themselves.
Yep.
If we're right, we're right. I just don't have the energy sometimes for it.
$2 super chat. Thank you, Scorpion, from Josh Miller. Will AB zag and sign a cornerback, James Bradbury, perhaps? No. He's hit his allotment for corners. He has drafted two first round. He used his first pick in a draft. Actually, 3 drafts. Right. No, not 3 drafts. He didn't draft Denzel Ward. But Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, both first-round picks. And Martin Emerson was his first pick in a draft in round 3. There's a ceiling for how much you can devote to one position. That is it right there. James Bradbury signs, you have to trade Greg Newsome immediately. Otherwise, he is 4th on the depth chart. That is just overkill at that point. I think Bradbury is going to go for like a cash-in type of deal. The Raiders, they've been really mocked to sign him in free agency. Maybe the Cardinals, I could kind of see them trying to beef up their defense a little bit. I don't know how you feel about going to play at Arizona full-time after the Super Bowl. It'll haunt.
A little bit of a mental curveball.
Do you think, honest question, could James Bradbury sign with the Cardinals and play 8 games and look at that one spot where the holding was called? I think you'd have to just tell your agent, I can't go there.
You can't like step on the exact spot where you were.
No,
you have to step
you
like
couldn't.
a couple
You couldn't
to the
live with
right.
that. How could you?
That's
You
a
couldn't do
mental
it.
struggle.
You could not do it. Like, no, I don't think that's possible. Scorpion, hashtag Browns. Let me get some more dog bowls for Josh's super chats. All right. We're at $52. We'll keep the show going as long as we keep getting super chats. If not, got a boogie. Would you like to see Zadarius Smith come to the land? Yeah, why not? What's not to like about Zadarius Smith potentially pairing up with Myles Garrett? I just want to see Myles Garrett get a long-term, like, Robin. You know, I thought that was going to be Clowney. I was wrong. But give him someone who he can partner with for more than 2 years max. That's all he's had. Right? Ogunjobi, and which isn't even a defensive end, and Clowney. That's as consistent as it's been for Garrett. I like to see him have someone who can build a repertoire with and work with on the defensive line. I just think back to the Colts, how much fun it would have been. They had Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis for how long? Like 9 years?
Almost a decade.
Yeah, 10 years maybe even. Someone fact check me. Vernon for a year. Yeah, like Vernon was good that year too. It's too bad. That Achilles really just ended his career. Point blank. We were all wrong with Clowney. Yeah, we all were. Dude, I'm partially responsible for this. I had everyone spamming 90 for months to re-sign Clowney. Did not work. About 10 years with Freeney and Mathis. Yeah, I just want that for Garrett. That's what I want. Great quarterback. Too. Like that was a fun, roster that the Colts had there for Peyton Manning. We're at $53 in super chats. If we don't get to $60, I'll put the benchmark there. In the next 2 minutes, I will have to get out of here and turn the studios over to someone else. Clowney is a clown. I wonder where Clowney's going to go in free agency. Sam, any wild guesses on where he... Maybe, what if he goes back to the Texans? Just going to throw that out there.
It's like, I don't know who's really going to throw him that much.
He's only going to go to a team probably in the NFC or AFC South. He is a big-time Southerner, and it took him a lot to come to Cleveland.
Dude spent a year in Seattle, too.
That's true. He probably did not enjoy that.
By the way, Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis overlapped for 7 years.
7 years?
2006 to 2012.
Okay, felt like it was even longer than that. Wow.
Or wait, no. I'm wrong.
Oh, okay.
2003 to 2012. So, a decade.
Yeah, a decade. There it is. We got a minute and change on the shot clock. Scorpion with a $2 super chat. He's chipping away at it. Who wants to be the assist man? Who wants to finish off the alley-oop? We're $5 away from 60. I just got here. I'm not ready to leave yet. I'm not fucking leaving. Show goes on. Dog bowl for every single super chat. Here we go. Cheers to you, Scorpion. The Amari Cooper of the channel. Someone's got to help Scorpion out. $5 super chat to keep the show rolling here. Oh, we got a $2 from Jonathan Mann. Let's go. Let's go, Jonathan. Third or fourth round defensive ends that jump out. Jose Ramirez from Eastern Michigan, big fan of. I mean, whenever you watch highlights of a player in the draft, you're seeing exactly that. Highlights, right? You don't see the full game footage. But I do like Jose Ramirez a lot. I think that would be a little bit similar to an Alex Wright pick, which, by the way, I don't want to see Alex Wright start in 2023. He was not good last year. Doesn't mean he can't get better. Just a rookie. But he does not look like a player who's ready to start in the NFL. So that's one name that jumps out right there. Scorpion, Nick Herberg, from Wisconsin, I believe. Stands out to me, but he is more of a linebacker. Darko, hello, PD. I heard somewhere that Watson's contract has a clause that the contract can be restructured at any time. Is that true? Let me kind of break down contract restructures for a second. Vast majority of restructurings can be done without the player's permission. I think the word restructure is not a very good word to actually describe what happens. Restructuring does not mean the player gets less money, which I think a lot of people think that's what it is. And it's like, well, why would the player agree to that? No, they're not doing that. Restructuring is simply you're getting your same amount of money. we're just prorating it into signing bonuses for the remaining years of your contract. And thus, we free up cap space in this year and raise it the next couple of years. So there's pros and cons. You're kicking the can down the road. But there's two things I'll say. The cap goes up. So a $20 million cap hit in 2023 is way different than 2026, right? If you restructure and push it down the road, the percentage hit is not as big. Or you could extend the player, lower the cap hit, spread it out over different years. You should do this with players you view as long-term pieces, not with players who you think we might cut before their contract is out. Watson, Myles Garrett, those are two guys who I'll confidently say will not be cut before their contract is out. Darko, thank you so much for the comment. Josh, we got to 60. Let's go. Is Clowney even a starter anymore? No, I don't think so. I think Clowney is Clowney is a rotational piece on a already good defense that feels like they're one more guy away, right? Kind of like when the Eagles got Robert Quinn last year from the Bears. That's Clowney's role in the NFL now. We got another super chat from Mark Perez. Let's go, Mark Perez. What other contract will the Browns restructure? Okay, that's actually really good timing. I could see them restructuring Garrett's and Watson's. Cooper's, I don't think so. I don't think Cooper's in that category of, will Amari Cooper serve out the rest of his contract with the Browns? Maybe. But if they restructure and they want to move on from him next year, well, they just pushed a lot of money down the road, and his dead cap hit just went way up. And that's a lot of money you're paying a guy not to play for you. Nick Chubb, I want to believe he'll finish out his contract, but I'm not as confident as I am with Garrett and Watson. Same for guys like Wyatt Teller. Joel Petonio, his cap hit's really not that big, but he'll be a Cleveland Brown for life. So maybe that's another guy that could get his contract restructured. Again, restructure does not mean player gets less money. Player has to agree to this. Restructure just means, hey, you're still getting the same amount. We're just moving it to a signing bonus to free up cap space for this year. That's it. That is 95% of restructures. There is a very rare one that does require a player's agreement. That's not the case here. So don't worry about that. Let me do a big dog bowl. Oh, Josh Miller. Okay. I need some more beer soon, too. Thank you, Sam. And then 5:30, 6:30. There we go. Okay. Josh Miller, the $5 super chat. Should we restructure all long-term contracts to get $60 to $7 million of cap space so we can carry over a bunch into 2024? AB loves him some cap rollover. No, that's not how it works, because you free up a lot of cap space, but now in 2024, your cap hits are way bigger because of all these restructures you did. So it's kind of like spending, hey, if you spend an extra $100, you get $5 for free. Yeah, but you got to spend an extra $100, right? So there's no actual real savings there. I think you should only restructure two players' contracts, Sean Watson and Myles Garrett. Those are the two guys. Outside of that, you're paying for what you bought. You have great players. Great players are expensive, right? That's the price of doing business. You want a good wide receiver? You got one in Amari Cooper. Same for Nick Chubb. Same for Joel Petonio. You got to pay the piper. That's okay. Cap's going to keep going up. These contracts won't. So their cap hits percentage-wise will go down. I have no concern. Not even like a little bit. I have no concern. I really am completely buying into what the Browns are doing with the cap situation here. Cheers to all the super chats we had run in. Oh, that was kind of the end of the beer. It's a little bit warm. Ugh. No good. Jonathan saying, Joshua, I saw on another show the max the Browns could restructure was $53 million. I don't think they need to get to $53 million. Plus, it'll be no fun because then next year, they're not at negative $13 million. They're at like negative $40 million. And that's a big hole to get out of. That involves cutting players. That's a warning. Okay, we just cracked open a new beer. So Someone else send another super chat in so I can do another dog bowl, please. We have free agency just around the corner. Let's get the free agent. Who do you want to sign up there right now? We got over 90. We got nearly 100 people watching right now. 90 likes. Let's go. Matthew Hancock, good to see you from across the pond. Hope you enjoyed your London trip, Petey. Looking forward to free agency. I think we'll get some real nice pickups. I did have a great trip to London. It was honestly a perfect trip. Shaylin and I had a lot of fun across the pond. Every day was awesome. Really enjoyed our time there. Scorpion with a $1 super chat. Let's go, Scorpion. Let's go. Let's go, my friend. But I think the Browns are going to be a little loud, a little busy in free agency. Not wasting that beer. Dude, you don't waste beer. Come on. That is a cardinal sin. We're at $67. Sam, what's the price for another dog bowl for you? Oh, now we're at we got to 69. Let's go. Nice.
Honestly, that might as well have just been it.
No, it's too late now. Yeah. Jonathan, man. Jonathan, can you try and tally up how much super chats you sent in today? Because you're getting somewhat close to that $50 range. Really, just 10?
He sent in 5. Yeah,
I feel like he sent in more than 5, but okay. Well, you're $40 away, Jonathan, from getting your own random player assigned to you. And anytime you super chat, we throw it on screen like we've done for other people today. Watson restructure might even be enough. Watson restructuring can get 35-ish million. So you're at negative 13 plus 35. Sam, you're smarter than me. That's what, 23? 20?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 20. Good job. And you cut one or two guys, and you're quickly gone from 20 to 30. You know what I mean? You cut 3 players, Jakeem Grant, some other guys, and you're at 30 now. So boom. Like it's not.
That's math.
It's gonna get done. There's no doubt about it. What trinkets did you bring back from jolly old England? Honestly, I love knickknacks. I put them on my desk. It drives my boss Brett crazy. I've got a whole shelf of knickknacks in my apartment. There were none really. Okay. I am a big fan of writing letters. I picked up that hobby at my last job, which was in Wyoming, so not a lot of face-to-face contact. So I wrote letters to all my friends from college and whatnot just to bring back that lost art. So I got this stamp thing where it's got your initial. You know what I mean? Like the seal. You
like you got a custom one, or
it's got my M for Matthew, and you burn some wax or whatever, and you stamp it over. It's got the red little thing. You know what I'm talking about?
In a Pirates of the Caribbean
exactly.
movie.
So I got that. I'm pretty excited about that. I haven't written my first letter since I came back though. I've been busy, so that one for sure. Camille Martinez, Adam Thielen could be a good pickup. He would be a red zone target, something the Browns really want Njoku to be, and therefore you don't really need Thielen, but he's got some speed, so that would bring a new element. But at the same time, he's a bit older. The injuries at times the last couple of seasons, a little bit of a red flag, but I wouldn't be terribly opposed. But if they did sign him, I'm also not going to pretend like he is going to be an impact player. He could easily go for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns.
OBJ is holding a workout in front of teams and scouts, NFL teams and scouts.
Interesting.
And he's got a USFL quarterback throwing him passes.
Who?
Ryan Willis, which, by the way,
I don't know
I
Ryan
remember
Willis.
Correctly, went to Virginia Tech.
Wow, I was like, I don't know Ryan Willis. That's good college football trivia right there.
Yeah, that's right. 'Cause
Yep.
He started at Kansas and transferred to Virginia Tech. I mean, he sucked, but he was there.
Talking and Grubbin Media, what's up? Can't wait for this free agency period to see who the Browns can get to improve the defense. It's funny that we spend so much time talking about the defense because I don't think they're going to make many moves on the offense at all. They might sign a backup offensive lineman to replace Chris Hubbard. They'll maybe bring back Dearness Johnson, but I've heard that Jerome Ford is in line to really get the lion's share of work for that RB2 job. They'll add a wide receiver, either trade or free agency, and that'll probably be about it for the starting offense. Defense, yeah, it's going to get – I mean, the Browns are probably going to sign 6 to 8 players, 8 being max. Let's go with 7. 5 will be on defense. excluding all the really small ones just to fill out the 90-man roster of no-namers, I think of the big 8 notable $1 million signings, 7, we'll call it, 5 will be on defense. Darko, what's the likelihood OBJ signs with the Browns? Like a 0%. Deshaun Watson's probably not going to push the needle enough for him to want to come back to Cleveland. I'm trying to remember. It was rumored that he hadn't sold his house for a while, and I think he finally did. But maybe if he didn't sell, he'd be like, all my shit's still there. Like, I'll go back.
That'd be a pleasant surprise to walk back to.
Yeah. I remember when like his house was listed, I looked at it. Very nice house. Really, then I Google Mapped it. Really far from the training facilities at Berea. So maybe that was an issue, you know? Hated his commute so much he wanted out.
The housing market will get you.
Yep. Where does Kareem Hunt go next season? You know, I was reading a article from Matthew Berry, which, by the way, since when does Matthew Berry do more than fantasy football? That was news to me. So Sam went to the NFL Combine with our lead draft expert and guru guy here at Chat Sports, Tom Downey, and you got to see all the big J's at work. I heard they're all way smaller in person.
There's a few midgets in the big wigs of the NFL media.
But
I'm not.
Did you see Matthew Berry?
We did see Matthew Berry. At one point, he was sitting doing an interview at the table right next to us on Radio Row. I don't know. Maybe that's like the whole thing of like why he wound up leaving ESPN. Maybe he actually wanted to do more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'd imagine at this point in time, he's got plenty of sources and plenty of connections within the league to where maybe he decided he wanted to get into the scoop game.
So, anywho, he put out an article of 23 things he learned from the Combine or overheard, scoops, rumors, all that stuff. And he said that the Denver Broncos are very interested in Kareem Hunt. Did they not watch him last year? I mean, I was a big Hunt stan. I didn't want them to trade him away. That take didn't age well. But there was a point where it's like, dude, stop giving Hunt the ball. It's a guaranteed loss of 2 on the play. Whether you want to put that on the offensive line or Hunt, I know the result of this draw, and it's going to be a loss. So that one shocked me. I think Hunt will sign somewhere for $4 million 1-year contract. And where that is, could be really anywhere. He'll be an RB2. So he's probably an upgrade from a lot of RB2s, but there's not one team that's like, these teams are looking for RB2s. No, every team wouldn't mind an extra running back for right now. We are nearing the end of our show unless we get another super chat. We're sitting at a nice $69. If we get some more super chats, we might get Sam Brown. We're at $69. We'll put it at $80. $11 away from Sam to come back on screen. Having a bit of a down day. We've got to boost morale a little bit. You know what I mean? Dog bulls do that. They do. You get to be like a dog. Dogs are happy as fuck.
They can't hurt.
Dogs' tails wag all the time. So this is a tail wagging machine. This is a tail wagging machine, pretty much. Joshua, how much of Watson's 2023 salary can be realistically moved into a signing bonus? I'm trying to remember his cap hit a lot. About $35 million. You can't just leave 1 penny in base salary. It doesn't work that way. You can move, I think, up to like having him have $7 million of a base salary over. There is sort of like a ceiling for how much you can restructure. So the Browns are going to do enough to get him out of the red before the league year starts. It's probably going to happen any day now, honestly. All right. Cool guy called Zone, looking for someone to super. I'm with you, man. I would love to get a smile on Sam Brown's face to send him on his merry way. Because it's Thursday, and this is our Friday, essentially, here.
This is both of our Fridays.
We're both off the next 2 days. So, with that being said, I'll put the timer back on. Let's see if we can get another super chat. Ooh, checking Twitter. No real drops or anything. 2 minutes. Scorpion's at $1, and he's doing his part. We're $10 away. Who wants to finish it off? Basically, Scorpion from the blue line just sent a beautiful pass across the ice. Someone needs to tap it in, right? It's a tap-in goal right now. That's all it is right now. I'll do a dog bowl for Scorpions. $1 super, the Amari Cooper of the channel. Hey, Petey, if we got lucky a first-round bye in the play... What if we get lucky first-round bye in the playoffs? Rest versus rust. But, I mean, yeah, that'd be really cool. Here's what a cool guy called Zone said. Hey, Petey, what if we get lucky first-round bye in the playoffs? That'd be fun. We got to go Raiders in the chat right now. The Raiders reports everywhere.
You can always count on them.
They can always count on what Sam calls the most financially irresponsible fan base in the NFL.
It's true.
He told me that my first week at Chat Sports, and I didn't understand why. Now I fully understand why.
We see it every week in this office. It's mind-boggling.
Josh, I got to know, what kind of pizza? This will be the shot clock. What's your pizza topping? Sam Brown, go-to?
I hate, vegetables on pizza.
I agree.
If
I see a veggie pizza...
I'm a big, meat lovers, just pepperoni,
Levi
Italian
with
sausage.
a $2. Let's go, Levi. We're $8 away. $8 away.
The countdown's on.
Don't let Levi's super chat go down in vain. Cheers to you, Levi Mayfield. This will be the ultimate shot clock timer. If we don't get a super chat by the time Sam and I are done discussing this, we'll pack up and go. Where does Baker Mayfield go in 2023? Now, Sam, OU grad, big Baker guy, right?
He was the guy.
Wet dreams with Baker.
My senior year of high school and then my freshman and sophomore years of college. So 3 Big 12 titles with Baker, 2 of which I got to witness in person. He was the man.
Yeah.
He was the man around the big man on campus for 3 years there.
Make sure you get all that white stuff out from around your mouth.
Uh-oh, thank you.
No, I'm talking about Baker's, you know what.
Yeah,
I actually got him there.
I thought you were dude, I spit on my lip or something.
No.
Baker was the man.
Yeah.
He just balled out. And
I like Baker.
He was the perfect asshole to have at quarterback.
He's a fun guy to root for if he's on your side.
It just sucks that the NFL came around and he actually had to be a really good quarterback, and he isn't on that level. But if he had not even Mahomes' arm talent, if he had I don't know, if he had Deshaun Watson's arm, honestly, he'd be awesome because if you play with him, you love to play with him.
All right, so where's he going? 2023. This is it. Unless we get a super chat by the time Sam and I give our answers.
Is it crazy to think he might go back to the Rams?
Jake Heath!
There it is.
There it is. All right, this has got to end the show. This is poetic. Jake Heath with a $10 super. This is what we'll wrap up on. Jake Heath, our
Shout out to
guy,
him.
the legend, coming through at the buzzer. You go with Rams. I'll go with 49ers. What are they going to do at quarterback-wise?
This is weird.
Yeah, Niners are weird. I'll go with the 49ers for Baker Mayfield. I'll do a dog bowl, and then we'll have Sam do a dog bowl. Cheers to you, Jake Heath. Yes, sir, Ty Man the Buckeye. Yes, sir, indeed. Sam Brown coming over. I'm telling you guys, the heart and soul of Chat Sports. He keeps this place moving. Cannonball coming. Cannonball. All right. That's going to do it for us on today's show. We got 2 dog bowls out of Sam. That's got to get his tail wagging a little bit here. We will sign off. Thank you so much for everyone that tunes in every Thursday, makes us a part of your day. Can't express how much it means to Sam and I and everyone here for you guys taking time out of your day to join us. We're going to sign off. We're going to see you guys all weekend long. And next week, it's a marathon. I mean, it is an absolute marathon of free agency stuff. So make sure you're subscribed. But if you're already subscribed, which I think everyone watching is right now, have those notifications on. Trust me, you will thank me later. When big news drops, you don't want to miss out on the fun of Javon Hargrave or Jessie Bates getting signed. You want to be a part of that community. And when we go live for it, you'll know because you get the notification. So get those noties on. We'll see you guys later. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's go Browns.